People are willing to do a lot of different things for success. And you see that a lot on YouTube and streaming and, people making stuff online. They make all sorts of different kind of things. They make skits, gaming videos, IRL, just, sitting around talking, kind of like what I'm doing now. But there are some people who go to extreme lengths in order to, get put on the map. And I think nothing encapsulates that more than this relatively recent situation that's going on. And that has to do with the streamer that has been trying to stay up for an unhealthy long time. Emphasis on unhealthy. Essentially what this person was trying to do was trying to recreate basically the Russian sleep experiment, but just in real life. So for those of you who don't know what the Russian sleep experiment is, it's a creepypasta from way back in the day. The story basically goes like this. It's like an old story where the Russians found this neurological gas that managed to keep people awake, and they basically tested it out on a bunch of different patients, and they were all in the same room. Eventually, because they weren't getting any sleep, they started to go a little bit crazy, and they ended up eating each other. To my knowledge, I don't think that's true. I'm pretty sure it's just a creepypasta. I hope. But this is what this channel decided to try and recreate. The channel's name is Norme. Essentially, Norme's channel, for the most part, usually consisted of tier ranking kind of stuff. But also, along with that, a bunch of different reactions. That was kind of his bread and butter. But then he decided to try to take a very different turn. And that was with a challenge that he put out for himself. And that challenge was to try and stay awake for 12 days straight. That is an insane kind of thing to do. And it's not good. The big reason why Norm decided to try and do that was because he claimed that he wanted to set a record for the longest time anybody has, stayed awake. And another thing that's also critically important to point out is that Guinness doesn't even do that anymore. Guinness World Records no longer has the longest awake thing anymore because they have recognized, along with a lot of other people's, the dangers of staying awake for too long. Sleep deprivation is incredibly dangerous because it has a bunch of, unintended neurological effects when you don't get enough sleep. And we really don't know a lot about dreams and stuff, but we know enough about sleep that we can recognize that if you do not get enough sleep or if you are unhealthy with your sleep, you can get really sick and you can even die. That is a real thing that can happen. And even if you manage to avoid the snake eyes on your roll, it doesn't matter because you can experience extremely long-term effects like insomnia, which is also not exactly great. So to put it plainly, for those of you who are still trying to follow along and just aren't yet, sleep deprivation is bad for you. It has been proven to be bad for you, and what this guy is doing is an extreme version of sleep deprivation. And the worst part is that this isn't even he's gonna try it once. He has tried this multiple times. Multiple times he tried to attempt this 12-day staying awake challenge they put out for himself and has been, for the most part, unsuccessful, which caused him to do multiple attempts. So it's not exactly a healthy situation, and I think YouTube themselves have also recognized that this is also not a great situation. Now, this has nothing to do with whether Norm is a good or a bad guy. That's not the issue at hand. He might be a really chill dude. The problem is that he's doing bad things, because it kind of promotes a harmful activity that nobody should really be doing, and that's staying awake longer than you need to be. But it's gotten so bad that YouTube has actually put a strike on Norm's channel. Now, for some people, that might seem like a very extreme measure to strike a channel, but when you look at the terms and services of YouTube, shocking, I know. It's one of the ones where I actually have to agree with YouTube a little bit, because it does technically fall under self-harm policies, because you are harming yourself by staying awake for days and days and days, and then promoting that to people that might be younger who might want to try and do that themselves. It's not a great look. And it's not like he's doing anything inappropriate in these streams either. It's just he's trying to stay awake. That's it. And he's just doing everyday normal things. But the fact that you are trying to stay awake for 12 hours, or I'm sorry, not 12 hours, that's silly. I do that every day. But you trying to stay awake for 12 days it's harmful. Plain and simple. But the story just gets even crazier, believe it or not. If this isn't doing it for you, trust me, there's more. Because it seems that Norm didn't learn anything from that strike on YouTube and decided, instead of trying to continue to do that on YouTube, he decided to move over to Kick. Good old Kick. You could strangle a puppy and probably still be on Kick. So that seems like the right move, right? No. Not at all, actually. Because in a shocking, if you put money on it, you are going to be a rich man. Because we have seemed to have found Kick's moral compass. It's a weird compass, but Norm managed to get banned from Kick, the one place where it's almost impossible to get banned, and yet somehow this is the thing that did it for Kick. Which... I'm very perplexed. Because yeah, I understand why you did it for Kick, but why don't you do that for other things that are also really bad that are on your platform? It doesn't matter. That's different thing entirely. Point being though, Norm got kicked from Kick. And even despite that, the crazy thing is that for the most part, Norm is still trying to do this challenge, this 12-day challenge. But in the process, all he's managing to do is just torture. He's torturing himself. By the CIA's own admission, because, you know, good old CIA, who have done a bunch of different things in the past, they admitted that sleep deprivation is a very effective way of torture. Who would have thought? Crazy guys, how'd they know that? How'd they get that information? What scientists they've been talking to? And yeah, I 100% agree. If I stay awake for like 24 hours, that is an accomplishment for me. I've only done it like once, and I feel awful afterwards because then my perception of time gets all messed up because I'm awake the next day and the night prior, so it's a very strange feeling. So why anybody would try to do that for 12 days, even for internet fame, is just beyond me. I don't know. The entire situation was just incredibly strange. Though it seems to have worked out because he's currently at 1 million subscribers, so... I don't know. I'd like to say good for you, but this is just not a good way to go about getting those subscribers because you can't. This isn't something that you can keep up long term. You just can't. It's going to kill you if you keep doing that. Nonetheless, I wish the best for Norm. I really hope he stops doing this because it's just not good for his health. But who knows? We're just gonna have to wait and see. But that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. If indeed you still are, my name is Brockster, and I bid you all adieu.